I'm Kiwi,
And I'm Jarad.
and we are the two gentlemen, coming to you like sinners at the gates of heaven. Jared, how are you, mate?
As a whole, it's hard to explain because it's been such a long time. But yeah, I'm going well, mate. I'm going well. But a lot's happened for both of us in between the time that we've last spoke. But yeah, going really well. What about yourself?
I'm going really well too. Just getting over another cold. It's my second cold this season already. I don't know why.
Mm,
You know when you get those lingering coughs,
yeah,
it's
no
really
good.
annoying because you feel like everyone's looking at you going, "Oh, that guy's sick. He shouldn't be here." But I swear, I'm fine.
That's a different dynamic now, isn't it? Like I think as soon as you get a cough, everyone looks at you like because we've been trained to stay at home and stay away. But yeah. It's those lingering ones are a pain in the backside, and they'll continue to be so. But yeah, it's funny sickness. I'm pretty been pretty healthy myself. Haven't had much, touch wood. But I was just saying to my wife last night, I got sick on Christmas Day. I don't know, around lunchtime, and I felt really bad to the point where I left where we were at, and I came home and had a bit of a sleep and sort of felt really, really nauseous. And then tried to go out that night to a pre-planned sort of family dinner. Again, lasted an hour before I sort of got the cold sweats and just had to leave. So that hit me pretty hard on Christmas Day, and then on Easter Monday, same thing. 18 hours, I was in trouble. I was bedridden, and I'm like, wow, what's going on? I think I need to go to church or something. I don't know.
It's a sign.
There's signs or something that I'm just not every other day I'm fine, but for some reason those two holidays I was a mess.
Well, let's hope the upcoming King's birthday is a bit kinder to you, mate, so you can
Yeah,
enjoy
I
a
hope
public
so.
holiday.
I hope so. I even missed the Eels beating the Tigers on. I was that sick I couldn't even get out of bed to
Yeah,
watch
right.
my team win their first. Oh, that wasn't their first game, but it was a big game for them. So it's it was quite the 18 hours of hell for me.
Well, I'm glad you're well now, Jared. Look,
Hmm,
to everyone who's listening, it's been ages. You might be wondering what happened to those two. Did they die? We didn't.
fair
The
question.
podcast came close to it, but honestly, it's just the same thing as why we didn't talk to each other for, almost a decade or whatever it was. It's because of, life, I guess, getting in the way, and scheduling
Hmm.
became a little bit harder.
Yes.
And now we've got this tiny little opening, and we thought, look, let's just crack it open and let's go for it again because we really love doing this and we really love connecting with everybody.
I agree, and I think it's like I'm not too sure if you can sort of connect it to other things that go on, but I mean, like for us, just like you said, cracking it open and just starting it again. Like it's not like I didn't want to do it. It was just honestly, it was this period of small excuses that would derail the process for me. So it would derail my thoughts and my thinking. Like when we're doing this podcast, I'm always looking around and actively thinking, oh yeah, what can I sort of bring to the show? And all these little excuses derailed that. So in no particular order, but things like like the scheduling and things like I say this with busyness. It all kind of like made it an easy excuse to not do it. But once we sort of crack that egg and get it going, I feel I've got that energy back for it, and I think a lot of things in life are like that.
Yeah. Personally, I've got the energy to connect with people. So that's what I've been doing most in the past, however
Yeah,
long it's been, 9 months. I think it was July that we recorded last. I
yeah,
haven't stopped talking to people. One of the things I'm most proud of is a really close friend of mine, Dave. We started up this little martial arts group. So we train in a park in public on Sunday mornings, and it's just built into a really nice community. And I've just met so many nice people through it. And that's one of the things I'm most proud of that, I'm continuing our vision, Jared, because, that's what we did this for, to connect with one another as grown men, to start talking again, getting conversations going and connecting with our audience. So to extend that to real life and to just meet really awesome people and to hang out with them and to do something so wholesome, such as martial arts, and there's a lot of chatting going on too. It's been really cool. That
yeah.
and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has taken up a lot of my time as well. So again, another martial art. And that's really about connecting with people too. One of my old professors said, jiu-jitsu is all about making friends. And I agree with
Mm.
that. When you go in there with that mindset that you're just here to meet really nice people, become a great partner and help people, everything becomes better.
Well, it takes any kind of pressure off, really, doesn't it? Because naturally, that's almost like what you want to do. Just talk to people, meet people. You know, be kind to people, have good experiences with others, and if you're able to achieve that by visiting something else like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for you, that you can, it's also a bit of fitness and it's also something that you enjoy doing. It takes the pressure off it, I reckon. It just makes it a friendly environment.
It's my excuse for not being good at jiu-jitsu. Hey, I'm just here to make friends, all right?
Yeah, right. Okay, so you're that guy. No. But you've told me that you're doing that too with your eldest, and he's doing that and getting fit, and you get to share those moments with him as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the most special thing to me. And the whole connecting with people, I've realized is I really love the idea of coaching. I love being part of somebody's journey. I met a young woman many years ago and I helped her with driving lessons. And I think she's an awesome person, but it was really cool to be part of someone's origin story. When someone grows up and they go off and do their own thing in life, you're like, I remember when she was, this age and I helped her with something. That's really fun. And I like doing that for people of any age, of course. So a lot of the guys I train with are much older than what she was when I helped her with driving. And, I'm part of their martial arts journey. It's really fun.
Isn't it? It's funny because it just reminded me of how my dad would talk about, like, he hasn't spoken to you in a long time, but those early days where we used to, we've mentioned on the previous podcast where we used to spend a lot of time in the car heading to football training, and like, it's funny, like it is nice to sort of like be part of that origin story that whilst it was only a little moment in time, it has such an effect. And it just reminds me, actually it's funny, very recently, like I think it was like 3 days ago, I was doing I've started to do some more running, and I was doing I've got like this little 2 kilometer run that I do on a netball court, up and down. And, I just sort of work it into walking and running and all that sort of stuff. But I must have I was about halfway through it, or a bit over halfway through it. And I must have looked like I was sort of, at the end of it. And this guy came out of nowhere. Like he was there doing some paperwork. I think he was like a tradie. And he was there doing some paperwork because it was a nice park. And he comes over to me and he's like, "Hey man, I just want to let you know, like, that's awesome what you're doing, and like, keep going," and like just gave me this like real boost in the arm. And I was like, and it's weird because I was at that point of where, that 6 to 8 week point of trying to get fit for me is a bit of a turning point. We were talking about the early excuses where things can just derail it. A lot of the time that happens for me. You have one bad meal, or you miss training, or you miss a week, and then you're like, whatever, I won't do it. And that for me is around that 6 to 8 week period. That's exactly where I am. And this guy just came out of nowhere and just like, and he was scared to say it because it was like, I was sweating my butt off, and I was, he's a little dude. He comes over to me, he goes, "Oh man, like, it's tough these days." I don't know what he said because I was too busy trying to get my breath. But in saying, he was just this niceness. And I was like, that's amazing to just do that, come out of the blue to some guy training on his own and just stop him training just to say, "Hey, you're doing a good job." I don't know what his name is. I don't even know if I ever see him again, but he's just given me that boost, for quite a period of time.
Jarad, that's so awesome on many levels. I love how much you appreciate it. A lot of people just go, "Yeah, whatever, mate." But for you to actually think about this, obviously you've thought about it after it's happened, that it's actually had an impact on you. And it's kind of part of your origin story now. One day you're going to remember this, the kindness of this stranger that gave you this little bit of extra motivation. And secondly, it's not easy to approach a stranger.
No way.
It really isn't.
It's so hard. It really is. I mean, I approach strangers for a living, but it never gets any easier. And for him to do what he did was just, and he doesn't even know what effect it had on me, to be honest.
Yes, exactly. And I want to say, like, just kindness, like random kindness like that goes such a long way. And the other, I mean, look, you've got a really friendly face, Jarad, so it's not hard to approach you, I don't believe. Even though you're huge, I think you look really friendly. So I think anyone could easily come up to you and go, yeah, that guy, you can have a chat with him. But, you've got this aura about you, a really friendly aura. So that's really nice too on your part. But it's really nice that there was someone out there to receive that and go, hey, I'm going to connect with this dude. And the other thing is, men don't receive a lot of compliments.
It's very true. And especially like from other men.
Absolutely.
There's a whole bunch of that interaction that you can break down if you really want to and be like, that was just all like, that was an amazing interaction. Like, I know it might sound a bit airy-fairy for some people who've just first listened to us, but like that to me is just like all those little pieces. He had to walk 25 meters. Like, I know that doesn't sound like much, but he had to walk 25 meters to get to me while I was in the middle of my run. And then to like interrupt it. Like, and then I think at the point when he arrived at me, he realized how big I was. He was only a little dude.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, sorry to interrupt, man. Sorry to, like, but it was just, I still remember, the fear that he had a little bit because it was probably a big deal for him too, in a way, So, yeah, I don't know what it did, or what made him do it, but yeah, definitely had an effect on me.
Yeah, that's awesome, Jarad. Look, something that I do when I roll at jiu-jitsu is I always compliment people when they do something awesome to me, which happens a lot because a lot of people do some awesome things to me. But I compliment them during the roll. So if someone does a really cool move, I'll say, oh, man, that was great. Or that was really clean or whatever. Because I want them to know, and I want people walking away from things feeling like they're growing. I don't want people to, have to gauge all of that on their own. I think part of being a friend, being a coach, being a human being, being kind is really encouraging people along on their path.
I think that's awesome. And I can relate to that a little bit. And do you think, like, I mean, jiu-jitsu is competitive, right? Like you're physically and mentally, and you need to win over and all this. I don't do it, so please forgive the really basic rundown of it. But to me, like, can a 20-year-old do that? Like what you said in regards to be nice to somebody, like. Is it an age thing that where we just go, you know what, we need to compliment this guy, or is it a personal thing? Like I know I play now. I'm playing, rep indoor netball for one of the local teams. And
Jarad, there's no need to brag, mate.
So end of podcast. So I just want to finish. No,
it's quite a mic drop moment, Jarad.
Yeah, mic drop. But like, so in that sport, you're also like, I'm a shooter, so you play against the goalkeeper. So you're just next to a person a lot.
That's kind of funny.
The play is like up the other end. So, it's half the game is at one end, half's at your end. So you're kind of, lack of better words, trying to battle it out for one half of the game. The other half, you're kind of just standing there. And like, I just fill the silence with a little bit of words, but like, I'm not competitive at all anymore.
Yeah.
Like I want to do my best, and I'd like to win. But it doesn't mean the world to me, like, and we got to the grand final a few months back, and the other team were giving us a hiding, right?
Yeah.
And and now the guy who was against me was like a 20-year-old, and he was like, all gung-ho, and he was carrying on like a pork chop, screaming, they don't want it. I'm like, mate, it's netball, eh? Like, and, but through the game, we actually made a comeback. So we end up winning by 1.
Jarad, awesome. That's so cool.
It was to the point where I didn't actually realize the score was getting that close. I just was like, oh, the game's over at halftime. We'll just play, and whatever we lost, I'll go back to my life. But as I realized, he was starting to get more agitated, and then he got sent off for a couple of plays because he got annoyed and yelled at the ref, and I'm like, oh man, this guy's like, and I looked at the score and I was like, oh, we're only down by 2, and then we end up winning by 1. And then, after the game, I'm like, oh, sorry, mate. He didn't know what to say. Like, I mean, I wasn't like being aggressive. Like, I should have said to him, should have said other things to him, but the way he was carrying on, I did say something like, oh, it seems like we did want it, eh? Kind of a little bit of a thing, but that was more of a dad moment. Like, don't be an idiot. Like, it's going to come back to you at some point, but I don't know. I don't know if that competitive, like, I don't know if that guy could, like, when I was having a conversation with him, he didn't really know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Because he was too, up for whatever this was, and,
well, the stakes were pretty high. Local netball champions.
Yes. Yeah. Sydney wide, mate. So.
Oh, sorry.
Sydney Basin, But yeah, it was just funny, and I wonder if, like, when you tell these, I mean, I'm assuming the guys that you're wrestling with, you're working with, are younger. How do they take it? Like, you've just if you've, let's say, not dominate's the right word. If you've been on top of them in that particular session, like, do they take it well when you just turn around and go, oh, you did that really well, or you did this? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, look, this is within a gym environment, so everyone's really friendly with one another. It's totally different to competing. If I were in an actual competition, I wouldn't say it during the roll. But after the roll, even in competition, everyone's generally really friendly with one another. It's actually a really wholesome sport, despite what, can happen in terms of injuries and that sort of thing. Yeah. But I think overall there's quite a lot of honour in the sport. I'd like to push that angle anyway. We all know that any sport can get pretty heated, but I think it's quite a wholesome and honourable sport.
Yeah. That honour is sort of trained into you early, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I think so. But look, going back to what you're saying, is it an age thing? I think it really is an individual thing. Everyone's got their own goals. Like, if this guy wanted nothing more than to win this title, like, if this really, really meant a lot to him, then it doesn't matter what age he is, he could probably carry on the same way if it meant that much. Yeah. But you were a casual guy when you were 20. You were even in rugby, you never carried on. True. You just did it with your actions, and we just cheered you on. Even though we should have been supporting you in the play, and backing you up to get a pass off you, but we were just standing there going, "Go, Jarad, go, Jarad." But even back then, we were never like that. But there were guys in our team who were. So I really think it's an individual thing.
Yeah, you're right. You made me think. Like, I've played Masters basketball, and there's some people there that carry on. So I guess it's not an age thing; it's more of a personal thing. But it's also an experience thing too. Some people, like, I've played sport all my life and competed, I guess, all my life. So I understand that you lose sometimes, and I understand that you get beaten, and but then just so much. I also understand you win. So you've got to be able to sort of, don't go over the top with the win and don't go over the top with the loss. But that's just me.
It's important to realize the ratio between wins and losses and goal attempts. That it's really hard to get a goal in soccer, right? Like, you look at the best strikers in the world. I don't know what their strike rate is, but it's got to be less than 20%, well less, right?
Yeah.
I saw a bit of the basketball the other day. LeBron missed a free throw, and I was shocked. But of course, this happens. It's the whole point of it's the sport. It's what happens. Yeah. And I think of, like, how much, like, a good person cannot have any success in their sport. Like, how many great players have not won a Grand Slam or won a premiership or even a title. And even us, when we were playing rugby, we had that great season when we first started. We went undefeated, lost in the grand final in extra time. And after that, we won 1/10s comp. Yeah. And last year, this kind of sounds a bit pathetic, but last year I entered a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competition. I think it's important to compete just to test yourself in combat. And it's safe for me because, I've had a lot of concussions and, there's no striking in it. So I thought, I'll give it a go. But I really, really wanted to win, Jarad. This is me as a 43-year-old man. I was about to turn 44, but it was really important to me to win.
Okay.
That sounds so lame. Like, really, it's just a local comp, and it's only within our academies. Even though it was a huge competition, there were heaps of people competing because we've got a pretty big academy. But I ended up fighting a guy from my gym, so
Yeah, right.
it was as local as you could get, and I
Yeah.
had to fight him twice to win the tiny little medal that I got. No, it's not a tiny medal, but really the stakes could not have been lower. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
no one will remember your name from this competition.
It's
I
not like Karate
still,
Kid, no.
no, sadly, no one will remember me from the Valley, back in
The All Valley
1984.
College. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
But I really, it's important to me. And I said it out loud to Eric. I was like, I really want to win this. And,
Yep.
you don't want to say things like that out loud because, you worry about jinxing yourself or whatever. And it sounds kind of lame to be that age to care about this one tiny little competition. But I hadn't had a win in ages.
Yep.
Like
You need it.
since we'd played rugby, like that was, when we were teenagers.
Yeah,
And I
right.
thought, I really want to make sure that my thing, in this case, jiu-jitsu, works. And just to let everyone know, I won.
Mm.
And it was really fun. It was a really good experience. And the great thing for me is that I actually now have the right to talk to other competitors and to help them because I've been through it. It's like when I did stand-up comedy, I feel like I've now got the right to talk to other performance artists about nerves and things like that. I can't just tell someone who's, if I'd never been up on stage myself, I can't just tell other people, oh yeah, man, you just got to get through it and, breathe through it. Well, I've been through it now. I know what it's like. So I felt it was important to get that competitive experience. But yeah, like it kind of feels lame how important it was to me to win.
But it also shows me, like the two of us, we just had two mic drops moments there where we both, have won recently, but at something so small and I say lame, but but it shows the different level. Like success can come in like so many levels. So success can come in like we talked about earlier, continuing a diet, or success can come in just, finally, anything, work, anything like that. So people aren't going to remember that, you had a salad for lunch instead of hot chips, but for you, that's success. So I think,
that's a big win. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we all need that in our way, and we're not all going to be on the grand stage of Wimbledon or, be fighting in the All Valley competition in 1984. We all need those I don't want to call them little wins because they're big wins for all of it for us, but when you say it out loud, sometimes it might sound little, but take it, man. Like it's what keeps us going, right? And you said there, like you haven't had a sporting win. I'll say sporting win because you've had other wins, but since we were teenagers. So that's awesome. And keep going.
I can't guarantee I'll get another win, Jarad, but I'll definitely have another crack at competition.
Just bask in the glory of that one then.
Of that one white belt competition that was restricted to people aged between 41 and 44. Yep.
Oh, what a day it was.
But speaking of these small wins,
yep.
My eldest son is learning to drive now. And just to talk to all the dads and mums out there who are thinking of taking their kids driving, it's so much fun. It's really, really rewarding. And
really?
I love how much I'm part of his origin story. I've been there pretty much every step of the way for his whole life. It's been a real privilege. And last night he had what I'd call a perfect drive. Everything we did from, he drove home from jiu-jitsu and it was amazing. Like everything he did was perfect. So I was really, really proud of that. And to me, that's a huge win. So I think he's 19 hours in now. And, to a lot of people, that might not be a big deal. But to me, it was raining. It was at night and he just did everything perfectly. So, and including a reverse park at the end. So I thought that was really cool. And you've got to celebrate those too.
Talk about mic drops. That's a good one. So you think it's enjoyable, hey? Teaching. I mean, the enjoyable part would be watching them, develop into, and being part of that, a big part of that. Geez, I'd be scared. Like it's such a big thing. Like I just like in the, where are we now? So I think it was, start of this year. I said to the girls that they can walk sort of a part of the way home. So there's this walk that you can do that basically there's no roads they have to cross. And it's about a 5-minute walk from their school. But, you know, a lot of the kids from the school do it. So it's just a way for the parents can kind of don't have to go into the school to do the pickup. It gives them a bit of independence, but geez, it was, it was pretty tough to do it for me. Like, I don't know, me being the helicopter parent I am, but, it's nice to see, but it's, little scary moments like that, I think, are training me for the bigger scary moments coming up that are bound to happen when they get old enough.
Look, I think that's scarier than driving with your kid. At least I'm in the car with my son and, you know, we can die together. That's fine.
True.
But yeah, you know, when your kids are somewhere else, yeah, it can be a bit nerve-wracking, I think.
Oh, it is. And I mean, look, every parent has gone through it. Every parent, you know, our parents went through it, and every parent who has kids have had those first moments. And I think back at the time, you know, I got my P plates and, you know, the first thing I wanted to do was drive. But I didn't get home until like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was winter, and it was raining. So by the time I got home from like getting my P plates, I was almost like have dinner, then straight into the car, and it was pouring rain at night. And I still, you know, looking back at the time, I didn't care. But I look back at I could see my parents standing on the porch of the house. You know? I'm like, my God, that must have been gut wrenching. Like that must have been absolutely like the hardest thing to see me just reverse out, probably with a massive smile on my face, probably doing half a little burnout up the driveway because I couldn't keep it on the little tire tracks.
Yeah.
So all muddy. And then, oh man, that would have been tough. But I suppose all parents get through it.
Absolutely. And yeah, look, it's just a privilege to be part of someone's story like that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, he's definitely going well, and you know, you've told me what he's been doing, and that's awesome. So
yeah, I may as well share that. Look, as our listeners know, my eldest son has always been into waste management, and ever since he was probably about 18 months old, he's always wanted to be a garbo. And this year, because he turned 16, he started.
That's awesome.
And look, he gets up mega early in the morning before any of us. He cooks his own breakfast, makes his own tea. He's out the door, and he's out there earning money and investing it all. So he's doing really well for himself. He's really happy. He got sick, unfortunately, from me, and he had to miss one day of work. And he was like, "Oh man, I love it so much. I hate having having to be homesick."
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really nice to see, and he's so humble about it too. And he does a really good job. He just wants to help people. And yeah, he's getting really fit and strong. So yeah, he's growing up into a fine young man. I'm really, really proud of him. He's just a lovely human being.
That's awesome to hear. And it must be really good. Speaking about origins, and you know, you've watched this kid grow up, and like you said, from such a young age, you know, enthusiastic about that subject, to finally see him able to sort of, you know, for him too to like finally take the shackles off of like not being a kid anymore. Like I know he's still not an adult, but he's able to work now, and to finally get that next step would have been such a long process for all of you. And I think the joy and the, you know, just the energy in the place, in your house, would be pretty amazing at the moment.
Things are great. My youngest son, I don't want to leave him out of this conversation. He's doing really well as well. He's so self-directed in his learning. Last year, probably around August or something, he just dedicated himself to learning the Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, right.
His best time is under 20 seconds. He's incredible. I mean, I know that the world record is something like 3 seconds or even less, but you know, for him to teach himself, like, I've taught myself the first 2 layers, and after that, I'm like, this is too much. There's all these algorithms you have to learn, and he just decided to do it. He just decided to get really good at maths. Just the other day, he just decided to do Morse code. And this was ages ago. He did Morse code, but then last night he decided to get back into it. So, you know, he's coming a really long way as well, and just his brain, just seeing him just do his thing, and it's really hard with him. Like, as people know, listening to this podcast, we homeschool. but so much of it is self-directed. And it's, for me, as someone who's grown up with different syllabuses, is it syllabi? I don't know.
You're the homeschool teacher, mate.
Curriculi, I don't know. But all the stuff that they make you learn, I've grown up with all of that. So to let someone cook and just do their own thing is really, really nerve-wracking for me. So even in jiu-jitsu, you know, we don't have a fixed curriculum. It's just you learn stuff and then you're meant to get good. And when your professor thinks you're good enough, they promote you to the next belt.
Yeah.
So for me, I like to have set steps that you're meant to do, that you're meant to get good at. And this means that you're competent. But as Erica says, you know, why should you let adults tell you what's important in life? So these kids, they've just gone off and learnt whatever they wanted. And it's just really rewarding. Speaking of origins, seeing my youngest son come so far.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's awesome to hear.
Everyone, thank you so much for listening. Jarad, it's great to be reconnecting with you. Thank you for being part of my origin story, Jarad. I've known you since I was 7, and you know we went to primary school, high school together. We played rugby together. So you're a huge part of my story. When I'm dead, you know, you'll be there in my my biography. There's some sort of record somewhere, whether it's in my eulogy or on my epitaph or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, he was good mates with Jarad.
Nice to hear, mate. Not the dead part, but yeah, everything else was good to hear. but
Jarad,
right
thank you
back
so
at
much.
Yeah, I was going to say right back at you, mate. It's really good, awesome to reconnect. We have connected, you know, offline a few times, but to do it, you know, and sit down and have a chat, and I learned so much from these moments. So thank you, mate.
So do I. To all our listeners, thanks for joining us again. We really love having you with us, and we really want to connect with you, and we're trying to get this back on a regular schedule. We hope you got something out of this episode. I hope that you value the origin stories that you're part of. I hope you value all the people that have given you random acts of kindness, and I hope that we can just keep trying to spread that and build a world for our children to live in that's empathic and kind. Thank you.
See you, mate.